Hello, everybody, once again. I'm very, very happy that this evening we are going to have a conversation with Sebastian, aka AGORIA, an artist who is first very widely known globally as a DJ, but in the last 5 years he has been also super active with massively impressive projects in the visual arts world, and he will tell you, of course, more about that. Before we start, I would like to say a huge thank you to the French Cultural Institute and the French Embassy in Bulgaria. Thank you so much for supporting us in making this happen. And of course, huge thank you to Obena Alexandrova. I don't know if she's here. No, but her generous support meant a lot because last year, AGORIA made the first digital intervention in the Orsay Museum. And two of the works that he exhibited there are right now in Sofia. One of the works could be seen upstairs in the Artists on Focus section. Of course, in the perfect case, it should be related to the original of a Courbet work. The original is still in Orsay, but you can see, half of the project. And then the second installation, Illumina, could be seen in the Allure or OUR boutique shop in the city center, where it looks just amazing. Sebastian just showed me, it's very impressive. So feel free to go there and check it out as well. Thank you very much, and please, you're warm welcome for AGORIA. All right.
Hello. Are you still awake after a big day of conference, listening many people, still some energy? Okay, so we are here for a little talk, and then we do a party and enjoy together at Allure. Please come to see us, because I love to bridge worlds, I love to bridge disciplines, so we're gonna bridge art, science, fashion, even music. Thanks for having me, Sofia Art Fair. I have to say one thing before, is I'm very glad to be here, because my wife is Bulgarian. And so I feel already adopted, so...
I have to admit that made it easier to bring him to Sofia for the art fair, It played some role in that. Well, we're very happy as well. Nowadays you're a global DJ star. What it takes to live that lifestyle of a global DJ star, and how did everything start for you? In the music industry, I mean.
Well, the word star, I think it's a bit too much, but it's 30 years I'm doing this. It's a long journey. So if there is any artist here, just don't think you can predict the future, don't think about career or whatever. When I started, I felt I will be DJ for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, because when I started, electronic music was forbidden. You couldn't listen to techno music or house music or any music that make you dance. In France, in many countries like England, even England put a law, the criminal justice bill, where you couldn't dance more than 2 people on techno music. So imagine a party with 2 people, you and my wife. So it's very difficult to plan what's going to be the future and anything. When I started, people were asking me what I was doing, I was ashamed to say I was a DJ, when nowadays, if, I don't know, a boy or a girl of 20, 25 years old go to see the step family, say, she's a DJ, the family would say, oh, fantastic, you bring a DJ in the family. When I started, I spent so much time in the police station. Many times. Because I was the one playing in after parties from 6 to 10 a.m. when all the stars were playing, and I was playing after my records, and it was tough. Because, of course, the police was arriving, the promoters left already, and I was always the one playing music for maybe 20 or 30 random dancers staying in the fields or the abandoned factories or wherever it was. And the police, after 3 or 4 times, told me, it's okay, you can go back home, see your parents. Because I was 17, 18, or 19 at that time. So my start was quite hectic. And even now, I don't know if I'm going to play 1, 2, or 5 years more. for other reasons. It's like maybe I get a bit older and traveling and partying. It's something demanding for the body. So the thing that I remember from this period, and which can correlate a lot to the art scene, is there is this amazing writer, Hakim Bey, who did write at that time that the rave parties were the last place on earth where you can have like freedom, experience, like autonomic zone of independence, which was actually true because there were no laws. At that time, nobody was looking at the DJs. People were dancing normally in the party, but nobody was looking at the DJ. The DJ was like the bartender, it was like the decorator, or there was no this fame with a phone looking at the artist on stage saying, "Does the artist?" No. There were none of this at all. It was a community all together, and I tend to think that actually the digital art scene at the moment is a bit like this. All the Web3, all the blockchain, all these like barbaric names make me think that this scene is quite fantastic to start nowadays. So I say many times that the music scene and the digital art scene are very correlated. I see the same energy nowadays in the digital art scene that in the electronic music scene. Not because I'm a geek or a nerd, but because I see people who are like, who doesn't care about what should be right, what should be wrong. They build projects, sometimes they fail, sometimes they succeed, but it's something that is really authentic. And I think especially nowadays that we're going to speak later about this, and today it's very difficult to know what's the truth, what's real, and as soon as you're authentic, this, I think you did a first step, let's say.
So I guess entering into the visual art world is also a striving for even more authenticity. How did you decide to start being active in the visual art, to become a full-time artist as well while being a DJ?
This, it came like my first, I think before visual, I think my first project was in 2010. I did a song with an hologram. So the artist was the hologram. It was in Japan. It was an algorithm named Hatsune Miku, and Hatsune Miku is today an artist that still bring 5, 6, 10,000 people to see her on stage. But the artist doesn't exist. There's nobody on stage. It's like, for example, it's like, come with me. It's like if we are all here and we are like watching nothing. Come with me, come with me. We are watching nothing there's nobody on stage, but there's 10,000 people looking at this, dancing crazy, singing crazy, like, and I was thinking, what's happening here? How can we look nothing, dance in front of nothing? And I got like really perplexed. So I did a first song with this artist, Hatsune Miku, and it's still a hologram, very famous, and at that time all my friends told me, why you do something with an algorithm? What's the purpose of it? So of course then this question resonated a lot in my side, and I thought, what can we do with an algorithm? So then there is a festival named the Sonar Festival, which is a festival in Barcelona, fantastic dance and art festival. They asked me, what should I do if I wanted to speak with aliens?
We ask ourselves this question every day.
I agree. And I thought, like, if I had to send a language into space, what could it be? So it was 2016, 2017, and we started to do many iterations with our graphic card. And after 600, 700 iterations on my music, then we finally find something that could be an alien language we thought could be. So we did send this 10 kilo octet, because to send something into space, it has to be very light, very small, otherwise it can't get up from Earth. And so far, since we send it into space, we have no answer yet, which I'm very shocked. Because I thought sending, if you do something with of course, we could have sent everything, a picture of all of us, we could have sent a love message, and I was thinking if we send a code into space, maybe we have an answer that could be easier to get, to be understood. So far, no answer from the aliens, so I don't know. I'm sure.
Is that the reason why you also decided to intervene with one of the central religious buildings on Earth? You had your art exhibited at the Vatican City. Was this part of trying to get an answer from something which is beyond us?
Yes, I mean, Vatican City.
How did all of that project go? Because you basically created AI work, which was then exhibited in the Vatican City. What was the meaning behind it? What was your idea behind it?
So it was the Scientific Council of Vatican. They heard all the work I was doing with scientists. We can speak about this later. And they thought, like, people doesn't know maybe this, but the first scientific council in the world came from Vatican. So the Pontifical Council make something for us very appealing to think about. Okay, we have all this, what we say, biogen art, biological generative art work we did. They wanted to exhibit it to question this. And personally, I just lost my mom a few weeks before, so for me it makes a lot of sense to go there. And the first thing I said when I was in Vatican City, in this council with everyone, it was all the United Nations were there, like, and I said, you know what? My mom was a nun. They all look at me, your mom was a nun. My mom was a nun. Then I don't know, my dad managed to make her change her career, but my mom was really a nun. So when I said this, it was the Prime Minister, Cardinal Turkson of Vatican, who was there, which led the council. And he would look at me like, like this, and it was maybe a bit of sacrilege. How do we say sacrilege in English? We say sacrilege? So, exactly. I hope from that time I don't have like a bad eye on me, but I guess.
No, don't worry, it's not a sin. You haven't done anything wrong. Yeah, but what was the idea behind the project?
So actually, it's part from a series I did named Compend AI. I can maybe show one here. So there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. This one. That's the one we actually displayed. The idea came. I was on tour for many years, and I was a bit shocked that we see every single hour in the world, in the key cities, propaganda on the walls. I don't know if someone might be knowledge about Raymond Ince, Jacques Villeglé from the 60s, like we name affichists. They were actually taking all the propaganda from the walls and make their own pieces from this. So I was a bit of a son of this. I was thinking this, and what I captured was the remnant on the walls. Every city in the world, Tokyo, I mean not Tokyo actually, because it's very clean, but Paris, Miami, New York. I was capturing when I was on tour the remnant behind my poster of my parties. So I took my posters of my parties, and behind I was capturing this. And I feed an AI with all this content. And during 1 year of modeling this algorithm together with Johan Lescure, we managed to get a lot of amazing visuals, and that's what we actually showcase at the Vatican.
So you also work pretty closely with scientists, and projects of this nature also got you the invitation to create the first digital intervention in the Orsay Museum last year. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I think I was a very bad student, and I was shocked by Elon Musk. I think I was really scared by what he said. He said, for an AI to speak with a human, it will be like to speak with a tree. I feel we have so much things to learn about the living and the trees, much more than from an AI. So I was very shocked by that. And so I went to center of research in Paris, CNRS, and Musée, museum from all the natural and social of biology and stuff. And we exchange a lot about this thing, like how can we show the complexity and actually, I think the living get the biggest collective intelligence. Because one thing that people think about AI, it's like AI is a collective thing, which is not. When you work with an AI, what you have is a medium answer, not a collaborative collective answer. So you have just the average answer of what has been fed by, which is very poor. And at the end, it's very reduced, and you have only something very thin. While the living, the beauty of the living is so complex, so beautiful, so fantastic in a way. So we did try to understand two things. What was happening in your brain before we take a decision? How does it come? And then we did another project about what happened on Earth, under Earth, before the living pop in. So the first thing was a collection I did with the biologist Alice Meunier named Centriole, where we see what happens when you snap a decision. And that was shocked, because you have a liquid in the brain, and this liquid is actually full of proteins. I do it simple, okay? And there is a cilia, and the cilia push the proteins, and when these proteins match together, when they fall in love together, you take a decision. How beautiful, how complex, and what do we decide from this? Do we really decide this? Where does it come from? And the second project was actually this movie, I don't know if we can play it, named Phytocene, that I did with Victoire de Portales in Paris, who get a fantastic firm, which is a gallerist. And we actually, during maybe 6 months, 8 months, see the developing of seeds. And we see how it's moving, and we built a microscope to see this in CNRS because it was very difficult, and you see the architecture. And this is a bit specific because it's hemp, the brother of cannabis. So you can see the beauty of the architectural thing popping up. You see it's like a motorway here, and it's a bit like also something like the cosmos. I feel that there is an immanence in things where things that are little are also gigantic. I do think that there is another project that we will do and unveiling at Basel, Paris, named Physarum, where you'll see something happening microscopic. I'm sure this is a word, something happening somewhere else. So maybe we can speak and just let it go if you want.
But I heard that this is one of the reasons why the Orsay Museum got in touch with you, so that you create a project in the museum.
So yes, so have you been to Musée d'Orsay? Oui, if you want. Have you been to the exhibition we did? Did you have? We were unlucky you didn't come. So Musée d'Orsay, there is only paint and sculpture. I'm a very bad painter, and I'm an horrible sculptor. So I was, why did you contact us? What can we do, and it's like Van Gogh, Renoir, Rodin, amazing artists. And we say, of course, yes, we are very pleased to work on a project with you, but what can we bring to this incredible place? So it took us 1.5 years to bring to life a project that we felt could resonate both with the legacy of the museum and our ideas with Johan, because I did this with Johan Lescure. 1 year spending nights in this museum surrounded by this incredible artist. So we thought about two things. The first thing was the light and the perspective we saw in most of the paints of this period. If you see a Renoir, if you see the work he did on the light, it's just insane. And of course we had a lot of sculpture. So we put together these ideas to create this sculpture Maybe that's a movie. Maybe we can just see this. Right. This is the sculpture. So it's a 2-meter sculpture. And you see on the floor there is a QR code. What's happening in the room is like there was a light turning around the sculpture. And when the light was aligned to the sculpture, the shadow of the light through the sculpture on the floor drew a QR code. And the light was turning in the room. Some people might have seen it during their visit of Musée d'Orsay, some others might not. And when you were there and you had the chance to see the QR code, you flash it, and actually you could blow into your phone, like, and at that time you have a piece of art coming to your phone. So what was for me important is like this breeze, the fact of blowing into your phone and connected to this legacy was something that was like two effects, you know, because you see people after the COVID just like this, and you had like Renoir, Courbet, Caillebotte, through neural networks coming back to life. I don't know what they would have said today. I don't know what they would have been their perception of this, but it was incredible to see from 7 to 70 years people like discovering these classics through another way.
How was it received by the public?
And actually tonight, if you go to Allure, you will have, you can do this experience, because we built a sculpture, so it was too difficult in the room to put us the light, but we managed to put the QR code, so you can go, scan the QR code, and experience this. And during the exhibition at Orsay, you could mint it. I don't know if some people here has already collected digital art. Nobody? For blockchain? Nobody? I see an artist there. Yes, he did. Thank you very much. You could go back from Musée d'Orsay with a piece of art in your wallet, in your home. That was something important for me, is because blockchain, all these things, people think is very complicated, which actually is not so much. And I think in the next years it's going to be everywhere without knowing it exists. But people went back to their house with a piece of art they get from the Musée d'Orsay, and I was happy for this.
This is the exact sculpture that you can actually see at the Allure space, as Sebastian said. So once again, make sure that you experience. How long is it going to stay there?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question.
We'll figure it out. Well, something very curious. The French President Emmanuel Macron, he patronized you recently as the AI ambassador of France. What is your role? What does that mean, actually? And yeah, what are the details around that?
Because if I'm a fervent defensor of AI, I'm also very critic about these technologies. And I feel they like my position of someone who is an artist who's using this since 15 years, but meantime know all the danger of it. And my voice is to say to every artist, every person in this room, to use AI to make it good. Because it's not just a tool. Because I see many artists saying AI is a tool. It's not just a tool, it's more complex than this. I think we need to people who think outside of the box to use and to model it differently. So at the moment we develop a new model named Alter. The idea of this model is the opposite of OpenAI, of ChatGPT. It's local and it's closed. It means it can be something that you have in your house, in your body every day, but only you know, only you speak with it, and it knows everything about you, but nothing go out from it. Because as I said before, the danger of all these models is they tend to get only one version, one, they say truth, which is obviously not the truth. When you go on Twitter and you see Grok, for example, the Elon Musk AI, the first call to action of Grok is OpenAI. So when Grok say, we know the truth, the first thing they ask is, what does think OpenAI? So there is this complexity of people thinking, okay, we're gonna ask, we're gonna have an answer, this answer is what is exactly the truth, which is definitely not. So we need artists to definitely take the lead on this to make this livable. we need to get the lead on that to educate the younger generation to use it correctly. And I do think that we need small model, not large model. I don't want to go too complex, but small model to make sure that we use it the best way.
Do you personally use AI in some of your projects so that you make some task easier for you or something of this nature?
I wouldn't say I use AI as AI is called, because it's called as artificial intelligence. For me, it could be an alternative intelligence. As so far, it's just an algorithmic intelligence. And the first word, intelligence, nobody knows where is the intelligence. What is intelligence? Do you know what it is? Is it here, you think, your intelligence?
Of course I know.
We have no clue. All this is really, I don't want to scare anyone, but I do think that first, let's define what is intelligence. I think intelligence is in our cells, in our blood, it's around here. Nobody knows where it's located. And I like to think about alternative intelligence. And of course, we can be emancipated and do tasks and to create with it, but not as it is nowadays. So to answer your question, we build our own algorithm to make things.
So obviously AI will bring us to a point where it's very hard to distinguish reality from generated reality. In my personal opinion, when that...
And most of all because nowadays AI is using, when you see like discussions, bots are answering this AI discussion. So it's the AI is feeding the AI that is feeding the AI that is feeding the AI by bots. It's a nonsense.
At some point, the reality that AI is creating will become indistinguishable from the reality that we see captured by a video camera, for example. So it's going to become really risky. How do you keep your sense of what's real and what's not? This applies to visual culture. This applies obviously to news and information generally. Do you have your own filter? Like, how do you orient in this whole situation?
You know, when they start with the photography, they will say the photography captured the reality. That was not true. A photo is a point of view. It's not the reality, it's just a point of view. And with AI, it's even worse. It's not even a point of view, it's a medium answer average that people want you to feel. The Chinese is feeding so much their model at the moment, so we don't know what's the truth. The US, they delayed so much data that we don't know that is the truth. So I think Europe, Bulgaria, France, and all the countries, our position here is just to try to put some ethic and civism to make sure that we can solve this.
Yeah, at least I guess we should have a new term like generated art. Everything that is generated image or generated content, so that everything that we see on social media, for example, especially for the young guys, so that they know it's not actually completely real, you know?
If we speak about reality, it will take 2 hours, because I don't know if it's a tough one.
I know. Okay, what's next for you from the visual art point of view? Tell us about the new project that you're working on, something that's going to happen soon.
Soon tonight, for example. So tonight there is You're Not Alone. So that's the brain of my fantastic wife. And she presented in Allure. And I'm really happy because she took some of her art, which is actually becoming a living art because you can wear it. And it's based on both algorithm and biological data. So I like this to be on here and living and be aware by many people.
You prepared quite a few images. What else can you show us as part of the visual presentation?
So this is what you can see here. I'm sorry, there is a problem with the player actually in the room, but I don't know if many of you saw this paint in Musée d'Orsay. It's Gustave Courbet, L'Atelier, which is a fantastic paint, one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. And it's Gustave Courbet at the time where he's like with his patrons, with his courtesans. And at that time, this paint has been refused. I say this for every artist here in the room. That paint has been refused by the Universal Exposition of that time. So what did he decide? He did a museum front of the Universal Exposition to exhibit it. I thought it was a fantastic thing. And when we came to Musée d'Orsay with our pieces, we actually had the same thing. People think, how can you dare touch a masterpiece like Gustave Courbet? So this, what you see on the paint, is actually microorganism. What we did is we take the period of life of Gustave Courbet, and in the bioreactor, during this period of light, we did the experience to the microorganism, to the yeast of these 70 years of life. So for example, during Napoleon III period, where all the French people has been killed, the bacteria get the same treatment, and we can see this on the movie we did. It's a movie we did. So this was almost the end, and this is when everybody died.
Yeah. This could be seen upstairs in the Artists on Focus section.
That's a piece we exhibit for the Summit AI for Emmanuel Macron and the delegation of President. It was at Grand Palais, and that's all the blows of people who came to Musée d'Orsay breathing and blowing into their phones. We get all the data, and all this data and made this movie. It's like every blows together make this fantastic iteration of this paint of Les Oréades de William Bugon, which is an amazing piece also that you can see at Musée d'Orsay. And that was like the live thing. Tac, 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 tac. Maybe a last one?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be too much about a specific project. But this, as I'm a DJ musician, I did a song with Nile Rodgers. Do you know Nile Rodgers? Nile Rodgers, who did the song Happy with Pharrell, who did Chic Group, a fantastic musician. I was shocked on Spotify to see so many AI music feeding Spotify, and so I thought, how can we make music rare again? Not that I'm a big fan of Donald Trump, of course, but I find it was funny to think, why music is not that rare again? Why do everybody want to get so much streams? What, #1, like millions, whatever? Because music, I think today you consume music, you don't really listen to music, and we're a bit lost in this amount of music going out every day. So we did a project. Every time you press play, you had your own and new version. So we limit this to 200 versions, and every time you had a version you liked of the song, it would be yours, and only 200 versions. So you could have a version with no guitars, no voice, and you could actually find your own version. So this is like the portrait of the song, the complexity of the algorithm to make it happen. This is another one. And I was happy, so people did listen to the track fully, 4 minutes.
That's pretty cool. Is it true, by the way, that in electronic music nowadays, obviously you have like the music playing and there's a culmination where everybody gets really hyped, and then it goes again to, let's say, a different elasticity of the music and so forth. Is it true that the culminations nowadays are required to be much more than, let's say, 10 years ago, because people are constantly striving for this elevated element of the music experience? Something which people relate to the scrolling, for example. Like you really need new content all the time so that you feel exhilarated.
I can honestly think like artists need to get so personal to make sure, because when you have so much accessibility to technology, everybody can do things, but to be personal and to be unique is getting even more difficult.
Okay, now it is you. Any question you would like to ask Agoria? Now it's the moment to do it.
Don't be shy, huh?
Like specifically created for a certain space, like site-specific projects?
So for the Musée d'Orsay, yes, we did specifically for this place, but it's more like let's say we have like already 20 ongoing ideas, projects, and then we decide what's the good timing maybe to visit. Same as the writers, you know, like one of my friends who is an amazing writer told me like, my house is full of books that I will never publish. If there is a question from the left, normally there's a question from the right.
And to connect it with, for example, Tomorrowland or some other big festivals which you are part of it?
So I did play Tomorrowland this year. I couldn't, but I did it in Universe in Ibiza. So in Universe Ibiza, the movie that is here was actually broadcasting when I was playing. I was really happy to put in Universe Ibiza Gustave Courbet in front of everyone. Because like the paradox of people going to Ibiza and going to see Gustave Courbet was quite cool. I liked it. But yes, I think more and more I try to then bridge between all disciplines, because there is a trend of people saying you need to focus on something to succeed or whatever, which I think terrible. If you go on every mentorship, people say you need to focus to succeed. I think first they define success as fame or getting visible and acknowledged. Well, I think the success is to be happy with your life and do projects that make you curious. And if you have a dinner on Tuesday with a philosopher, on Thursday with a DJ, on Sunday with a, I don't know, dentist or whatever, it makes you a better person, I think. So crossing disciplines is, I think, much better than focus on only one.
Okay, somebody else?
So let's party.
So
let's
go.
Go.
Party.
Let's go.
Thank you very much.